are 15 right now, 16, it's increasing. And our session is also there on YouTube. It's live on YouTube also. So few attendees are on YouTube also, and the video is available free of cost on YouTube. So whether you subscribe or not.
Sir, good to go.
Okay.
Right. So good evening, everyone. So ISOT welcomes you all for the ISOT EduConnect. So today we will be discussing about the latest development of ISOT swap software, where there will be a demonstration by Dr. Sakti, who is the uh, uh, program in charge for ISOT swap software, followed by a panel discussion. After the panel discussion, the question and answer will be open for the attendees also. So, first of all, I will like to congratulate Dr. Sakti for this developing this software under the aegis of ISOT. And I would welcome all esteemed panelists as well as Dr. Sakti, who is the speaker for today. So I would like to first introduce Dr. K.S. Nayak, sir. Sir is head of Department of Nephrology and Renal Transplant Program at Brinchi Hospital, Hyderabad. Sir is the first. Sir did the first deceased donor kidney transplant in Andhra Pradesh, heard in India, and first simultaneous heart and kidney transplant in India. Sir did the first cadaver solid organ intercity transplant by air in India in 1997, and first interstate inter-hospital swap kidney transplant in India. Sir has many accolades, including Guru Gronacharya Award, JCM Sastri Memorial Oration in the 50th Conference of Indian Society of Onconephrology in Chandigarh in 2019. And Sir has more than 100 international publications. Sir is the founder of Primary Hyperoxaluria Foundation of India. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I would like to now invite Sir Dr. Satish Balan, sir. So I would like to introduce him. Sir is senior consultant nephrologist at Kimshith Trivandrum, and Sir has many international and national publications. Sir is president and secretary of various regional organizations, and he is principal investigator in many multi-center clinical trials. Sir, you are welcome in ISOT EduConnect webinar.
Thank you.
Today's speaker is Dr. Shakti Selva Kumar. Dr. Sakti is the program in charge for this ISOT swap software. He received Tanker's Young Investigator Award in ISOT 2024 at Ahmedabad, and he was also awarded for Best Performance in Cadaver Transplant in 2023 by Transstan Tamil Nadu. He received the second prize for Dr. K.V. Dakshinamurthy Annual Gold Medal for Best Nephrology Thesis, and he has 25 publications in various indexed national and international journals. We welcome you, Dr. Sakti.
Thank you, sir.
So I would like to invite Dr. Sakti to present regarding the ISOT swap software. So the stage is yours, Dr. Sakti.
Thank you, sir. Can you see the presentation, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay.
Thank
It's visible.
you, sir. Good evening, all. So over the next half an hour, we'll be discussing about the ISOT swap software. So swap transplants help us to overcome blood group and HLA incompatibilities, to sidestep desensitization, to widen the donor pool, and to shorten the daunting wait list for deceased donors. Swap transplantation in India is still underutilized despite its potential to greatly increase donor pools. There is no unified national network or centralized systems like in USA, UK, Europe, and Australia, all of whom have government-run swap transplant programs and registries. Manual matching process is time-consuming and prone to errors, especially when considering highly sensitized recipients. There is limited coordination and mistrust in data sharing among multiple centers. Indian swap databases are mostly offline and lack nationwide implementation. The concept of one nation, one swap has been proposed to address these issues by creating a unified, centralized, secure national database registry for swap transplants. This should automate the matching process, enabling real-time matching and data sharing across institutions. Our cloud-based software with a mobile app is designed to offer a nationwide multi-center solution. It utilizes automated real-time virtual cross-matching and chain generation, all the while maintaining data privacy and security to comply to HIPAA, DISHA, and Electronic Health Information Act. There are two main categories: government hospitals, private hospitals. Each category is subdivided into two domains: kidney and liver. The process begins with the hospital registration. Each hospital must register on the platform by submitting the transplant license for kidney, liver, or both. The platform site admin will verify the license. If it's valid and hasn't expired, the hospital registration will be approved. Once the registration is complete, the hospital is assigned a hospital admin. After the hospital and its admin are registered, a nephrologist, liver surgeons, and transplant coordinators can sign up by selecting that hospital from the list of registered hospitals. The hospital admin will review the registrations and activate them. Consultants will have the option to grant access rights to the transplant coordinators to manage the patients. There are different search levels available within software. My patient search focuses solely on the consultant's own patients. My hospital search expands the search to all pairs within the same hospital, especially if the hospital has multiple consultants. Citywide search broadens the scope to all hospitals within a city. You may choose your own city. You can even add multiple cities if needed. Statewide search extends the search across all the hospitals in the state. Nationwide covers the entire country. International search, that is for the something to be pondered in the future. At present, there are two match runs: my patient and my hospital. As the program picks up, we can add more. The difference between these two is that if you want to search the best available match for a newly registered or pre-existing patient, we can do a search run. And if you want to do an equitable match, you can run a match run. We use a hybrid algorithm. We use multi-criteria decision making, in which elimination by aspects and weighted sum model is used, along with the famous stable matching theory. We have Aadhaar-based registration of donor recipient. Donor recipient must have at least HLA types A, B, DR, and DQ available. C and DP are optional but recommended. All the HLA fields should use high resolution typing with a 2-field 4-digit format. Data can be entered manually or uploaded via CSV file. SAB of the recipient can be uploaded by custom-made templates using CSV. And it is advisable to have the complete reports and medical and surgical fitness of donor before entering them into the system. During the recipient registration, the system will collect specific data preferences that will be used to filter potential donors based on the recipient's willingness to accept certain donor medical profiles and surgical details, like whether the recipient is willing to accept HbS-Ag positive donor, HCV positive donor, EBV IgG positive donor, CMV IgG positive donor, or diabetic donor, or donor with hypertension. And what would be the acceptable maximum donor age, BMI, number of graft arteries and graft vein, and minimum GFR. You can enter the serotypes of the unacceptable antigens, and system will filter donors with these serotypes. In both recipient and donor registration, demographic details, comprehensive, relevant, and personal medical and health data, specific from physical examination detailed reports, including imaging, can be entered manually in short boxes. Any positive cross-match with any positive donor, CMV, EBV IgG, IgM, IgG, anti-HBC, HbS-Ag, HIV should be entered. At present, we are not having PRA because we believe the PRA, whatever is given in the reports, might not represent the actual donor PRA. Maybe in future, if there is a unified CPRA system enabled, we can give points for that. And similar data should be entered for the donor also. Other than this, in donor registration, anatomical details such as arteries, veins, ureters, including their number, size, and variations are entered manually in short boxes. And data such as GFR, split kidney function, also to be entered. These following reports will be uploaded after masking the donor name and address: renal angiogram, DDPA, donor biopsy, psychiatric clearance, pulmonology clearance, cardiology, urology, anesthesiology clearance. The people who are entering this data have to make sure that the names of the donor and the personal details are hidden. If a search or match is run for the recipient, algorithm makes sure donor eligibility criteria, donor suitable parameters are satisfied for the particular recipient, and then it proceeds with the matching criteria. These are the 5 matching criteria: MFI based donor exclusion, blood group compatibility, HLA matching and weightage, age difference between donor and recipient, geographic proximity of the hospitals. I'll give few examples. All the criteria in MFI are customizable. That means the users can tailor the system based on the specific needs and preferences for matching donor and recipient. The MFI can be adjusted based on the individual or institution preferences. The maximum default MFI is 2,500. This MFI limit can be modified globally for all the alleles or customized specifically for some specific alleles. As seen on the right, we include a comprehensive list of HLA types for which you can select individual MFA targets. I'll give you an example. Let's say we run a search for recipient R1 and D1 with 7 other pairs. First, the algorithm checks the SAB MFI of the recipient R1 or the unacceptable antigens of R1 against donors D2 to D8. And if the system flags D4 and D6 to be not satisfactory, as these donors have alleles for which the recipient has high MFI for which the target has been set, then the algorithm does the same check in reverse. It filters out recipient R2 to R8 who have DSA MFI for the D1 donor. While checking, the algorithm identifies R3, the recipient has DSA against donor 1. So it has filtered out 3 donor pairs, D4, R4, D4, R6, D6, and R3, D3, all of whom are not satisfying the criteria. So at the end, we have 5 pairs. So out of these, R1, D1, R2, D2, R6, D6, and R7, D7 are compatible. So we follow blood group compatibility criteria. If you look at them, R1 has B group and donors D2, D6, D7, D8 are compatible. But if you look at the reverse, D1 has A group, while R2, R6, R7 are compatible, but R8 has B group, which is not compatible. So algorithm will filter out D8 and R8. We are left with 4 of them at present. So now MFI satisfied, blood group satisfied, then the algorithm will move on to HLA match weightage. We give 40 points for 0 mismatch of DR, 20 for 1 mismatch, and 0 points for 2 mismatches. If DR is fully mismatched, HLA DQ serves as a secondary evaluation to determine compatibility. Usually they say if DR is fully matched, DQ is also fully matched, but that is not the case always. So if there are mismatches, then HLA DQ serves as a tiebreaker. If there are 0 mismatches, the pair get 15 points, 1 mismatch, 8 points, 0 allele match results in 0 points. For HLA A and B allele, each match gets 4 points. HLA C and DP, which are optional, will get a maximum of 8 points. That means 2 per allele. So for recipient R1, donor D6 has the highest score of 15, making it the most favorable match. Similarly, for D1, the most compatible recipient is R7 with a score of 30. Similarly, if you look at R2, D6 has the highest score of 12. And if you look at donor 2, R6 has highest score of 19. So based on this, I have color coded the recipient and donor matches. R1 matched with D6, R2 with D7, R6 with D2, R7 with D1. We have a 4-way pair. So if a consultant wants to proceed with a 2-way match, the algorithm will choose R1 D2 with a score of 8 and D1 R2 with a score of 6. But if you look at the maximum pairs, R1 D6 has 15 and D1 R7 has 30. But because of equitable and stable match, we choose R1 D2 and D2 R1 with a comparable score of 8 and 6. So once the pairs are satisfied, HLA and AB compatibility, but let's say 2 donors will have equal HLA weightage, or the algorithm is finding that HLA match weightage is not considered by the consultant. The priority now will be given on the age difference between donors. So the difference between donors, if it's within 5 years, we'll give priority rank 1. And as the number of years increase, the difference increases, the priority will be changing. So if the age differences are minimal or identical, the algorithm will sort the donors based on the distance between the hospitals where the donor and recipient pairs are located. Closer matches will give proximity alert, and then they'll have preferences. And we are using Google matched geotagging for this. So this is a just pictorial representation. So if D1 and R2 are not matching, system will move on to the next pair. It will try to match. If this is not matching, it will move to the 4th pair. And if they are matching, this will become a 2-way pair. But if you're selecting a swap chain, this works differently. If one of the donors is not matching with the recipient, it will move on to the, instead of removing the donor pair, it will try to close the loop. Now this forms a three-way pair. Again, it will keep on searching for new pairs. Now this becomes a four-way pair. So this shows match run where all four recipients are paired with all four donors using the stable match theory. The arrows represent the potential matches between the recipients and donor. The algorithm looks through each recipient's preferences and vice versa, ensuring that once a match is made, it cannot be destabilized with another pair. So this means that no donor and recipient would prefer any other over their current matches. This results in a stable matching system. So each recipient ends up with the most compatible donor available. So this is for a four-way. This can be extrapolated to 1,000 or 100 matches also. So once everything is done, the consultant have an option to look at epitope match. The algorithm identifies applet load. That means the mismatches between the donor and recipient for each mismatched donor and recipient alleles. This list of epitopes is also available for the consultants to view. It will identify all the antigens of mismatched epitopes, identify the single antigen beat MFI for all the antigens of the epitopes, and then it will display the maximum MFI of those antigens. So the knowledge is still evolving. We will monthly update the applet data in the system. So it's up to the consultant to decide whether to proceed further in cases where the correct analysis is showing borderline or complex results. So the results will be viewed like this: details of demographics, HLA matching, HLA weightage, SAMFI data, clinical summary, surgical details, an optional epitope mismatch summary, and correct analysis. So I'll play a video. One minute, sir. Can you hear the sound?
Yeah, no, the sound is not here.
1 minute. I'll stop the sharing and then I'll share it again. 1 minute.
Each hospital must register on the platform by entering their details and submitting their transplant license for kidney, liver, or both. The platform's site admin will verify the license. If it's valid and hasn't expired, the hospital registration will be approved. Once the registration is complete, the hospital is assigned a hospital admin. Nephrologists, liver surgeons, and transplant coordinators can sign up by selecting their hospital from the list of registered hospitals. The hospital admin will review these registrations and activate them. Consultants have the option to grant access rights to transplant coordinators to manage their patients. Once users log in with their registered username and password, they'll be taken to the dashboard. The dashboard is the central hub, providing access to all the platform's features. It also displays detailed swap transplant data analytics, including the total number of patients on the waiting list, completed transplants, pending registrations, and any requests sent or received. Additionally, the dashboard highlights the current week's activity and includes a calendar to review activities on any specific day. Users can also find helpful FAQ videos to guide them through the platform's functionalities. On the recipient registration page, users will need to enter demographic data, relevant medical report details, and donor preferences. On the donor registration page, users will be prompted to enter various details, including demographics, personal and medical history, examination details, and medical reports, including imaging details. Relevant medical documents and surgical fitness reports can also be uploaded during this process. Users can then select the offered kidney, review the disclaimer, and complete the registration after agreeing to the terms and conditions. The recipient and donor HLA can be manually entered or uploaded in CSV file. Additionally, the recipient's single antigen bead data can also be uploaded in CSV file format. On the registered pairs page, users can search and view the pair ID, age, blood group, and key details of their registered pairs. By clicking on a pair, the demographic details will be displayed, allowing users to review or modify donor preferences, or even disable or delete the pair if necessary. On the Find Match page, users can begin the search by selecting either the pair ID or the recipient name. From there, they can choose the search sample and specify the length of chains. Users have the option to select one or all of the following criteria: MFI cutoff, blood group compatibility, HLA match weightage, donor age difference, and location of hospitals. Based on these selections, the algorithm will identify and rank compatible pairs accordingly. The MFI cutoff threshold can either be set as a whole or customized for each allele with an adjustable range. Depending on the preferences chosen, the donor pool will adjust dynamically to provide the best possible match. The search results will display the recipient's ID, age, and blood group, along with all potential donors listed in order of priority. For each donor, the ID, age, blood group, maximum DSMFI, HLA match, and HLA score will be visible. Donor names will only be shown for your own patients as seen here, while donor names from other consultants will remain hidden. On the results page, users will be able to view the demographic details of both the recipient and donor. The donor's name will be protected if they belong to another consultant. The results will display the number of HLA matches, the HLA score, and the virtual cross-match results for the generated pairs, along with a summary of the donor's clinical and surgical details. If epitope and Craig analysis is required, users can also view the eplet load and the single antigen bead MFI of all corresponding eplet alleles. If the chain length selected is more than 2, the algorithm will identify the suitable pairs based on the specified chain length. For example, if a chain length of 3 is selected, it will display a 3-way pair. Once the donor details are satisfactory, a request can be sent to the consultant handling the pair. The consultant can then view the request and choose to accept, decline, or put it on hold. The liver domain functions similarly. On the recipient registration page, users will need to enter demographic data, relevant medical report details, and
Hello, sir. Shall I proceed with the liver or just I'll skip this?
Yeah, you can skip this because we had already planned for the
Yes, sir.
liver swap
Yes, sir.
letters. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. So once a match is deemed satisfactory, the consultants can choose to send a request for the consultant response for the opposite pair. Similarly, consultants will also receive a request from the other consultants regarding potential matches. These requests, if accepted, the match proceeds to the next stages. If declined, the pair remains eligible for next meeting process. If put on hold, the consultants can defer the decision and the system will send a reminder. Additionally, the opposite consultant can send a review request to follow up. So if the match is accepted, the system will automatically freeze the pairs, ensuring no further matching occurs for the pairs. After this, follow-up forms will be auto-generated for the consultants to update the status of the physical CDC or flow cross-match. Additional details about the transplant surgery and other details can be updated. And once surgery details are entered, the pair is archived. Periodic follow-up forms sent to the consultants for continuous monitoring. So in near future, we are planning to implement a continuous validation feedback system, ensuring the software stays updated and accurate as we gather follow-up data and continue with advisory meetings. We are also in the process of developing machine learning algorithms to utilize both historical transplant data and prospective pairs. This will allow the system to learn from previous matches, improving accuracy and efficiency. And but this requires a large data set and longer time frame. In the possible future, we are planning to integrate a CPR-based scoring system to prioritize the sensitized patients following the collection of analysis of adequate HLA data. We also hope to incorporate the built-in protocols to streamline documentation and reduce delays of the approval process. Hopefully, this requires policy changes and expansion might be required with the help of Noto. And we are also in the plan to integrate other countries to create an international registration program. And we are planning to develop our own appellate registry. So the next possible plans are non-simultaneous donation, which involve kidney exchanges where donor donates at one time and the recipient receives transplant at a later date. So this will allow the chain to start even before all the pairs are available. There are a few institutions like IKDRC at present who are successfully doing this. The next plan is to have a cadaveric non-direct donor where a deceased donor can donate their organs to the recipient, and either the donor of the recipient or any other donor can further down the chain donate to the top priority recipient. So this could start a chain reaction for transplants leading to multiple matches in one sequence. At this point, I'm not going to discuss living directed non-directed donors or unpaired recipients. There are still legal clarification needed before this discussion can proceed. And inter-organ swap can be a future prospect also between liver and kidney pairs. So I would like to express my gratitude to the leadership and council members of ISOT for supporting this project. Their guidance and backing have been instrumental in making this initiative a reality. I would like to acknowledge the advisory committee members, Dr. Anish sir, Dr. Arpita madam, Dr. Vivek sir, for the guidance. Special thanks goes to Dr. Manish Balwani sir, whose unwavering support and motivation made this project possible. I also like to thank Dr. Divesh Engineer, Dr. Shobha Banerjee from IKDRC, Dr. Dhanashree ma'am from Reliance Labs Mumbai, and Dr. Feroz, ICRA Hospital, Kerala. Sincere thanks to Dr. Sampat Kumar from Madurai, Dr. K.S. Nayak sir from Nichi Hospitals, Hyderabad, Dr. Velaravan sir, Pineapple Dialysis Center, Trichy, Dr. Satish Balan sir from KIMS Health, Trivandrum, Dr. Vishwanath sir from Manipal, Bangalore, Dr. Kandasamy sir from KSH, Coimbatore, Dr. Vilas Nayak sir from Kolhapur, Dr. Sachin Nayak sir from D.Y. Patil Hospital, Mumbai, Dr. Gauri Shankar from Tanjore, Dr. Raja Ramachandra sir from PGMI, Dr. Vinant Bhargava sir from Gangaram, Delhi. They are the advisory committee members for the kidney. I thank all of them for the valuable inputs. I would like to thank Mr. Gopi, our software engineer. I'd also like to thank the following doctors who played a vital role in validating the software. Dr. Rajalingam, Director Immunogenics and Transplant Laboratory, University of California, San Francisco. Dr. Uma Kanga, Additional Professor, Department of Transplant Immunology and Immunogenetics, AIMS. Dr. Jeremy Chapman, Professor, Sydney University, Australia. Dr. Umapati, Vice Chairman, Mujli Patil, Nadiad. Dr. Ajay Kar, Max Hospital, Noida. I thank Dr. Rajagopal, Dr. Subramaniam, Dr. Devansh for external validation statistical analysis. With our scalable and secure architecture, our software would offer a unique platform to streamline the entire process of swab transplant, bringing us closer to realizing a national swab transplant network and the one vision, one swab plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sakti, for your wonderful presentation and your wonderful efforts on ISOT swab software. So before proceeding to the panel discussion, I would like to ask you a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
Regarding this software,
Yes,
what
sir.
were the most significant technical and logistical challenges you encountered while developing this software, especially for India's complex organ donation system?
Initially, the plan was to have a local system, sir. So it was within our own city. Then I tried to incorporate entire Tamil Nadu nephrologist system into this. Then we realized to work, it needs a pan-India organization. Then we took it to ISOT, and ISOT has accepted this idea, and then they backed up and supported this. Initially, we had some hiccups to develop the software, and it took a long time. But with Mr. Gopi's help, we spearheaded the process, and now it needs validation, external validation, and we have rolled the software to preliminary users. And hopefully with their guidance and support, we are able to upgrade this to the next level.
Okay. So many of our audiences are eager to know, like
Yes.
how this software will be rolled out. Also, will it be free to all? So can you explain regarding that?
Yes, sir. So for regarding the rollout process, the primary users will be transplant physicians, surgeons, and coordinators who are directly involved in the process. Secondary users will be hospital admins, and if possible in the future, regulated bodies like NOTO. And the main objective is to increase our swab transplants. And the ultimate aim is to start swab transplants in pilot centers where they have not done any swabs. And we'll be doing this in 3 phases, sir. Phase 1 will be pilot program, where we are limitedly rolling out the access across multiple centers in India. So far, 65 nephrologists across India have been actively enrolled into the process. We are open to welcoming additional interest in nephrologists and centers who are willing to participate in the pilot phase. The next plan would be to gather the initial feedback, address the challenges, and then define the platform based on their feedback to improve the features in the workflows. Phase 2 would be regional expansion. The plan is to integrate all the major transplant centers within specific regions, say north, south, west, and east, create regional swap programs to improve them. And then the final objective would be to have a national rollout, potentially with the support from NOTO, to develop this into a nationwide complete software. And the potential roadblocks, what we thought we will face is internet connectivity. So we are planning to have an offline data entry options with auto sync functionality. And digital platform may not be familiar with everyone. So we have simplified the interface as much as possible. And we are planning to have future online sessions like this to help people learn more about this. And the third point will be about the documentation, which everyone might ask. So at present, we are not going to logistic form. We are just showing the matches, and hopefully with the future integration with Noto, maybe that can be taken care also. And we are at present planning to have training modules online and offline webinars. Then the instructional videos will be given in the website, and we'll be rolling out in the ISOT YouTube sessions also. And then we are planning to have dedicated support team to help people familiarize this. And then ultimately, we are planning to have a feedback system for each pair people are doing transplant. We'll give a specific feedback system. And then in the future, we'll have bi-monthly review sessions along with the core committee, which I have mentioned. And then based on their advices, we'll plan to upgrade the software even further. And once in quarterly updates, maybe in the midterm ISOT or anywhere, we can have sessions where people can give more feedback about using the software. And then maybe we can refine this even further.
Thank you very much for the clarity, Dr. Sakti.
Thank you, sir.
So, Dr. Satish, sir, the next question is for you. What will be the estimated impact of this software on the donor pool in India? What do you think regarding that, sir?
Yeah, I think it's going to make a big impact because right now we have two problems in transplant when you have a disease program is not working that well. One of the things is the blood group matching, and second thing is the HLA matching. So both of these are going to create problems, especially in patients who are second transplant and all that. They are going to have problems in finding a donor. So this is where this is going to come useful. So initially in your own center, and then in your own city, and then in your own state, and maybe go outside the state after that. So that will be definitely make a big impact. So the impact will start slow. Initially, we'll be just trying out. Hopefully, we'll be doing only in our center, because definitely it poses challenges. Even two hospitals in the same city is going to pose challenges. You have to interact between the two hospitals, two consultants, and there will be problems down there. And your donor has to go to that hospital, get operated. Their donors to come to your hospital, get operated. So these are all going to be teething problems in the thing, but all these things can be overcome. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Dr. K.S. Nayak, sir, the next question is for you. Sir, can this software facilitate interstate or even the international donor matching? And if so, how will the legal frameworks support this?
Thank you, Dr. Saurabh. The most important thing is we have done interstate, intercity, the first one in the country. And before that, we have done inter-hospital swap transplants. We were on the verge of doing intercity with Bombay APEC Group quite some time back. But the paperwork is humongous, and it's a lot of stress on us if the transplant doesn't go through smoothly. So when we have the patronage of when it's a Noto and a ISOT especially endorsed program, it will protect us from the legal problem that may arise if there is a problem, if there is a renegement, which I would strongly suggest that we start off with simultaneous transplants and simultaneous transplantation in various centers, whether it's binary or if it's a swap chain. But what we did was we we put two computers in each of the operation theaters and insisted that the same thing happened there. And 4 or 5 crucial steps, and the most crucial being ligating the donor kidney. All these things should be at the same time. So we had the live video and audio from all 4 operation theaters to be done simultaneously. But the paperwork, it took for the first time about 6 months. And then second time we had already a track record. The last time when we did the first intercity inter-hospital, we hardly took 2.5 months. But patient had to go to that state, all 4 of them, and the same had to be repeated while coming back to Telangana. So I anticipate, since ISOT and Noto patronage is there, we will be protected, and paperwork will be much easier as we go on. Definitely, this is a work in progress, which initially, subsequently, it will become a common thing. And And I think initially even deceased donor transplant, we were very worried about how the paperwork will happen. It is now a standard procedure. Everyone knows about it. It's become popular. But we need to increase the donor pool. The question that you asked, I have a figure, about 30% of the donor pool will increase if swab transplants are implemented on a national basis. This is our estimate. And with the ML coming in and AI coming in, I think we can further improve it. I don't see any legal problems because of the patronage from the ISOT. And this is only going to be a win-win situation.
Thank you for enlightening us on this important aspect, sir. And the figure is huge. 30% is a huge figure. So, Dr. Shakti, next question is for you. What kind of data security, what kind of data security and patient privacy measures are in place to protect the sensitive informations which is being handled by the software?
So we have SSL, Secure Sockets Layer, a standard technology for securing any internet connection. It is double encrypted, and we have encryption standard AES, which is advanced encryption standard. And this data will be encrypted, is stored on any database, and this ensures that data access without authorization, it cannot be read. And we are using a special encryption where the consultants, the users, will only see their own patients, and other data will not be visible. It will be protected, and it will be role-based access control. And this data is called as role-based access control, where the data entry access will be completely limited, ensuring any consultant or transplant coordinator will be able to see only their own patients. And because of double encryption, even the administrator, the software administrator, let's say if in Noto also or any other in ISOT admin also, they won't be able to see any patient data. The patient data will be reviewed only to the consultant, consultized only. And we have multi-factor authentication. So this requires additional verification steps for each user to access the software, just like a code sent to a mobile device, email, or WhatsApp. So after putting this OTP only, they'll be able to access. And then we are planning to track user activities and data within the software. So if there is any mal usage or representation, this algorithm will detect and respond and block the user immediately. And all the data entered into the software is entered based on HIPAA, DISHA, and Electronic Act complaint.
Okay. Thank you very much for giving this detailed information. Dr. Satish, sir, the next question is for you. And so apart from this data encryption, what other safeguards should be in the place to prevent misuse or fraud within the platform, especially given the sensitive information of the organ donation?
Now, my basic big fear is hacking, because people are hacking into everything nowadays. So however secure, however, there is a limit to security you can use. So recently, you know that Star Health, they hacked into that and took out some 2 million this thing, or that patient details from that database and settled everyone. But I think, again, if you put your security protocols properly and make sure that it's updated regularly, probably we will be at least resistant to hacking. I mean, people they'll be prefer to hack some sites which are more easily hackable rather than go for this site. Unless somebody is having a vested interest in this, they won't be able to do it. So that is the most important thing. Second thing is that anonymity of data. That is very important, and I think we have made enough measures to make sure that the patient data is anonymous. Only we can view the data, and nobody else can view the data unless we allow them to view it, and unless there is things. So that part, those are the things which are very important, and the rest of it is all part of the software. Nothing much we can do about it, because we are the end users. We are not the persons who are actually behind in the back door of the program, so we can't really bother about that. But hopefully it should work out very well. I mean, there are similar things which are working out in UK, in the US and all that. So they are doing a good job also. Why not us? And probably our security systems are much more better than theirs, maybe. So probably we should be able to do it and do a good job with it.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Nayak, sir, the next question is for you. Sir, how can the smaller hospitals or clinics across India gain access to this technology and contribute to donor pool expansion with this software? What is your take on that, sir?
I think Shakti showed the software. It is amazingly good, simple, very user-friendly. The only requirement is the small clinic should have, if your question is whether they can do transplants, then if they are registered and they have transplant permission, then they can easily register themselves on the software, and definitely the donor pool will increase. So that's the very simple software, and I think there is no issue about registration. You register, and you have access to all the available donors, and if you have a recipient who needs a donor, all you need to put is the donor and the recipient details. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Sakti, the next question is for
Yes,
you.
sir.
So
Yes, sir.
what role does machine learning or the artificial intelligence it plays in enhancing the matching algorithm within the software?
Yes, sir. So we can utilize artificial intelligence, machine learning, or any algorithm to improve the prediction analysis. For that, we need to have very large number of data, maybe thousands and thousands of transplants. The problem is these predictive algorithms predominantly have been trained on Western data. So to have a proper predictive algorithm for our own patients, we need to collect Indian data at present and then develop a customized system based on retrospective and prospective follow-up. So at present, we don't have a system integration of AI into this. Maybe in the future, we can do that, but it's going to require voluminous data, and consultants should not be swayed by any limited amount of data. Let's say if based on 100 patient data, if we are giving a prediction that this donor recipient might not work, it shouldn't be swaying them. To give a proper prediction, at least it's going to need 10,000 patients. So that is a huge voluminous data. So maybe in the future, we can possibly do that, sir.
I think at this point of time, I don't think we need AI. No,
Yes,
Yes, sir.
our
Yes, sir.
program is sufficient enough to deal with the complexities.
yes,
Sir. Arpita ma'am has raised the hand. Ma'am,
yes, ma'am.
ma'am,
Yeah.
please. Yes, ma'am.
Excellent presentation, Shakti. Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
And what I was looking at, that we whether we can enable it for pediatric and preemptive transplants in adults too. So we are not offering any advantage to the dialysis patients or dialysis vintage.
No, at present, no, ma'am. Because the aim is to have an immunologically compatible patient. So if you are giving any score-based system for a patient who's on number of years of dialysis vintage, or a pediatric recipient, or women or anything, that will ultimately make it difficult to find a possible match, a better match or the best match. So at present we don't have. Maybe in the future, as the number increases, if there are two specific donors or two specific recipients who are having equal score, maybe this can make a
Be
distinguishing
used as a
factor.
discriminator.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Because now
And,
we are starting very small. At present, this might not help. Maybe in the future.
so we can do preemptive adult living donor transplants as well.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Dr.
you,
Uma
ma'am.
Kanga has raised the hand, I think, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Uma ma'am, I think ma'am is there as a
No, I think
attendee,
she
and
raised her
ma'am
hand.
has.
Yeah, ma'am is still there. Ma'am is still there, I think.
I don't know whether she can speak, no, because
Yeah, she is not a panelist. Ma'am is not
Yeah.
panelist. I cannot see here, but I think ma'am had asked for the regarding the your question and answers that you have already answered.
Yes,
That
sir.
these
Yes,
should
sir.
be visible to everyone. So I have just made it visible to everyone. I have
Yes,
done that. So Satish sir, the next question is for you.
Yeah.
Sir, how do you envision this software integrating with government regulatory bodies like NATO to create a unified and efficient national donor recipient matching system? And what steps are necessary to facilitate this collaboration?
I think right now the first step will be for us to a small pool of nephrologists start using the program, and once we have validated it and made sure that any hiccups are down, then we should hand it over to NATO. The advantage of handing over to NATO is that then it becomes under a regulatory body. So the whole thing becomes an official government program. So then what can happen is that our legal this thing also becomes much more solid behind this, because once it is that addressed by Noto, then everything becomes completely legal. Right now, it's a facilitatory software. It is not obviously a legal basis, because we are able to do all this and we have to follow all the legal guidelines for swap in this thing. But once it becomes integrated in Noto, it becomes much more that viable for everyone to utilize and to use. The second point is Noto should be the final decision, because then that it can also, like Dr. Nayak was saying, there's a lot of problems, documentation and all those things. I think you can come down on documentation, Noto takes over. They can make sure that this, maybe you can all go through online and make it all, so then that will take care of, you don't have to physically visit, say you want between Hyderabad and Mumbai, you don't have to go there, everything can be uploaded onto Noto website and this can be done. Noto can take care of that. Noto can oversee the whole program. So it will become much more wide, broad-based and probably more effective also.
Thank you for guiding on this aspect, sir. Uma madam is panelist now. Ma'am, can you guide us any point from your side that should be
Thank you. Thank
contributed?
you for allowing me to be on the panel. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yes,
Am I
ma'am. You are visible.
Yeah. So I just raised the questions because I knew the software, but I wanted attendees to also know the
Yes.
criteria for keeping the MFIs as a first line of selection and then moving down to ABO incompatibility. Sorry, the ABO matching. So Shakti has answered me, but I wanted the attendees to know
Yeah.
that
Yes,
probably
ma'am.
what he says. Would you like to answer so that everybody gains from that?
Yes, ma'am. So in case, let's say, a consultant is having a pair recipient who's highly sensitized, in case if he's getting an ABO incompatible donor also, they should or they might have the option to proceed. If I'm not able to get a donor who's HLA compatible with my recipient, and my recipient is in urgent need of renal transplant, I might try to do an ABO incompatible with the titer allo. So that is why MFI had the priority. And the long-term outcome of ABO incompatibles is actually good compared to HLA incompatible.
That's good. So I appreciate you for doing that. And my other comment was with regard to the antibody reports, because we need to keep a validity option there, so that because if the antibody reports are 6 months old, then you may not, the first step itself, we may not be going in the right direction, because antibody strength and sometimes the antibodies are only transient, and the antibody may not be seen when you do the test within 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And sometimes, the allele specificity also might change. There may be an antibody to DR2 or DB8 or something, and it might change. So maybe we should keep it a little bit stringent, 3 months, so that we have almost the latest report, and also a criteria, if possible, I'm not sure, can add whether the patient had any transfusion in between or not. In case no transfusion, it's not a retransplant case, then probably the antibody reports might stay the same. So just keep in mind, and if you can incorporate something there, might be a good idea. That's my suggestion. Rest is up to all the other committee to also suggest whether that will be good. But I must congratulate you, Shakti. This is a wonderful job, and I'm sure the country is going to benefit a lot from there. And we are happy to contribute in the way whatever you want from transplant immunologists.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. K.S. Nayak, sir, the next question was for you. Sir, in what ways do you foresee this software evolving over the next few years to further improve the donor matching and success rate of transplants?
Yeah, I had raised a hand, and the reason I had raised my hand was I think a time might come. Does the panelists and moderators and Sakti feel that a hospital can go ahead with the swap without registering, and both the recipient and donor, the pairs are in the same hospital, or I think over a period of time, have you thought of such a situation where it is mandatory that they register, or can a hospital, this question basically Sakti and others, do you anticipate that such a controversial situation to happen where we go ahead with a swap binary or something like that in the same hospital? I would rather think that it is mandatory that the legal paperwork and this thing should go through the ISOT swap. What is there any comment on this? Can we independently go on that? What do you think?
So
Yeah,
I
go
think
ahead.
for that we would need Noto support, sir.
Yeah, okay.
I think once it becomes integrated into the Noto program, then it becomes mandatory that we register. Right now, I think it is if you have a swap in your own hospital, if you don't register also, it can be done. It's not a...
Right now it can be done, yes.
Yeah.
But once Noto certification, I think that should be an important clock structure which we need to make sure is that any swap will get a permission to go ahead only if it is registered. That's what I feel.
It should be.
Now,
I think we should have some regulatory control over the whole.
Yeah, otherwise it will be chaotic. That's what my feeling. Now coming to Dr. Saurabh's question, the system which the software that Shakti showed, inherently it is going to improve results because they are going to be HLA matched and there will be age matched. So definitely the result is going to be better, and it will. Here we have learned a lot from deceased donor. It was probably it's going to be a reverse of the deceased donor. Deceased donor started state-wise, and we are having difficulty in integrating it. Whereas this swap program is going to be from about onwards. That is, we're starting off with the more. Probably initially it will be regional, but the stated what do you call goal is to have a national swap registry. That was missed out with the deceased donor, and I feel that is why it is becoming difficult to have a national deceased donor transplant. And I think once we do this swap program nationally successfully, we will have absolutely no problem. Other countries may, instead of us going to them, they might ask us to join. And we have great standing. We are the third, probably second or third highest transplanting country, and we have a big waiting list. So I think internationally, definitely it's the next step, and we will get offers from other countries through the TTS and through the ISN. We will get offers that we join the international swap program. This is for sure. I'm not at all doubtful about that.
Thank you, sir. Arpita ma'am has raised hand. Ma'am.
Yeah. So I was asking that whether the sub-reports that we should, for the recipients, should come at 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, like that. If that is not available, that is a series to assess the memory. Also, it will be okay that we will submit only one for the recipient, and whether a public-private intermatch is possible.
At present, public-private might not be in the ranks, ma'am. It will be very difficult at present in the situation. Maybe in the future, maybe we can incorporate. We want to improve swap transplants across the centers, and there are some logical and practical difficulties in doing public-private interswap, ma'am. That is why we had separate domains. Maybe in the future, if legality eases out and the process is simplified, maybe they can be there. The main issue, what we are afraid, is that the patient poaching confusion should not happen. That is the main issue. And regarding the SAB reports, ma'am, it is up to the consultants. They can upload once in 3 months also, not a problem. But we are not going to put a compulsory tag on that. Advisable is within 6 months, at least once in 6 months. If they're able to do, because of economic reasons and other logistics, if they're able to do within 3 months also, it's highly acceptable.
Okay, so whether we are going to assess a series, whether the software will look at the previous reports also to examine the memory part of it and the probable mismatches.
Good idea, ma'am. So far I have not thought about that. Maybe we can incorporate that, ma'am.
Yeah.
So if I can comment, this is the reason that many of the labs, when they do a physical cross match, they also pull out the historical positive serum and do a cross match, so that if there was any specificity known before, that if we can avoid in the current donor selection. So the benefit of the previous report lies there, so that one knows what is the current status and what was the historical. Sometimes those antibodies rebound.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
important to know that those antibody rebounds should not happen, especially because here you are having a big chain and you're trying to choose and give the benefit. But ultimately, if that antibody rebounds, then the organ may be actually go waste. So it will be nice if we can keep that 3 months limit, and also maybe the labs can already check whether there was any change and only upload one report, not necessarily it's there in the software. But 6 months may be too long.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Sakti, one last question for you.
Yes,
So,
sir.
this software, as it's made in India, can you explain how this software has upper hand as compared to other international softwares, and what are the limitations it has?
So as I said, the first limitation is the AI integration. We don't have Indian data, a proper Indian data to give predictive analysis. That is the main limitation what I could perceive immediately. And advantage is that this is more of a consultant or user-based software. Any consultant can be able to view their matches, the recipient's HLA scores, recipient's MFI for the donor alleles, and they can take a printout of all those things. So in other international softwares, it is more like a score-based system where they'll be able to only download the Excel sheets. And but we give the entire recipients, single antigen bead data along with the donor HLA allele. Only the donor name will be protected. And Craig is not present in, as far as I can remember, the Craig is not analysis, and epitope mismatch analysis is not present in any other international softwares. So that gives us an edge. And second, the security systems, we have enabled multi-user authentication. Multi-step authentication, double encryption, and all those databases are not present in international softwares. And most of all, uh, being a make in India, what we might have is we can surrender the software, surrender or tie up with Noto also. So that will give us an advantage to clear up the logistical workup also. International softwares might not be willing to compile with Noto or any other Indian regulatory bodies, while we don't have that disadvantage. And I think, and the security features also, we can update immediately if any feedback is given. Not on security features, all the features also. While international softwares, they have to get a feedback from all the users, and they won't immediately modify it because the user access will be limited.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sakti. Dr. Satish sir, Dr. Nayak sir, any final comments from your side, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sardeep.
Yeah, I think this is, I mean, we have been working on this, and with the proposals for the last 1 year, we are now reaching a critical stage, and we are waiting to take off. And I think we just make sure it is better to be safe, and we make sure that we follow right from the beginning all the correct steps, and we plan for a national swap registry. I think that is the goal. It is going to tremendously benefit. The results are going to be better. It's going to tremendously benefit our patients. And swab transplant will be just like how deceased donor transplants are propagated, or we are giving what you call exposure to the general population. We need to do the same thing about swab. Its advantages during the World Kidney Day, during public functions, and we get celebrities to endorse this. I think it's going to make, as I said, a 30% or even more increase, and then going international. It's a win-win situation. And I think Sakti has developed a very nice software, and it's only the way forward. We have to be a little bit careful. It is going to be a wonderful addition to the donor pool. This is, I'm very, very confident about this.
Yeah, I think I agree with all the comments made by Nayak sir. Just one more thing is that this software is not something that some vendor has come over and provided to us, and we have done it. It has been designed by transplant nephrologists for transplant. So I think it is from the bottom up approach, no? And that is possibly the most the biggest highlight about it, and that is what is probably going to make it successful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Arpita ma'am, President ISOT ma'am, your final comments, ma'am. Arpita ma'am, can you hear me? Oh,
Yeah.
probably ma'am is not here.
Dr. Manish sir is there,
so-
sir. Is there also?
Manish sir,
Yeah.
final comments, sir.
Yeah. So it was a wonderful discussion. And
So, yeah.
yeah, madam, please go ahead.
Yeah. No. I was mute. I didn't know.
Right, ma'am.
So just one line that Shakti has done its job. It's now job the ISOT to pick it up and to make it accepted by NATO so that the whole country can enjoy the benefit and the donor pool can jump from 3-4% to 30-40%.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Manish, please.
yeah, to update further, we have already written to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So we had word with the secretary also, secretary to Health Minister, and they are positive over the development. And let's see how it goes ahead. But I think till the time we should try to enter the data and enroll maximum centers as much as possible, so that we will be knowing the nitty-gritty and final details about the working of the software. And I would like to congratulate Sakti and the entire team, which I think stood behind the Sakti. They gave their time, inputs, and expertise to develop this software. And we hope that, as everyone agrees, it will increase the percentage of transplant by around 30 to 40%.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So, on behalf of ISOT, I would like to thank all the panelists for sharing their valuable time and guiding us from sharing the time from their busy schedule and guiding us this evening. Thank you very much. Thank you, Satish sir. Thank you, Nayak sir. Thank you, Dr. Sakti. Thank you, Uma Kanga madam. Thank you, Arpita ma'am. Thank you, Balwani sir.
Thank you, everyone, for
Yes,
allowing us to.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Arpita, and thank you, Saurabh. Satish,
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
and congratulations, Sakti, on doing a great
Yes,
work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Shakti
Thank you.
deserves all the credit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye,
sir.
sir.